Hey there, this is Pastor Omar here at EFC, and today I am bringing a quarterly missions report for this year, 2022. This is the second report of the year. It's a little bit late, but here it is. One of the things that we started last year to do is on a quarterly basis to give you an update on our mission partners here at EFC as a way for you to stay connected and hear a little bit more about what our partners are doing, how you can be praying for them, and how you can be involved if that's something that's God is calling you to do. So I have a lot of updates here for most of our partners, and I hope this is something that's encouraging and something that you enjoy. And as usual, if you have any questions, any thoughts, please email me at omara@efreebn.org, and we can talk more about any questions you have about all things missions here at EFC and everything about our mission partners as well. So we're just going to jump in to our quarterly missions report number 2 of this year, 2022. And I'll go over one by one our partners, the ones that we'll have updates from, and just let you know what's been going on over the summer here in 2022 with our partners. So we're going to start with Paul and Nancy Erker. Paul and Nancy Erker, for those of you who know, they're one of our mission partners. They were with Wycliffe Bible translators. They live in North Carolina in JARS, the JARS Center. So here's the highlights from them. One of the cool things from the highlights that they have in the second quarter is that one of the things that happened is recently, it says here that a chief in a remote village in Cameroon, a chief there, recently saw the Jesus film. That's something that Paul works with in his language for the first time. And as a result of that, he gave his life to Jesus. And then he said he asked for trainers to come and teach the village about Jesus, which is crazy. That's so cool when you hear stories like that. So that's one of the highlights that happened in the second quarter. The other one is, if you missed it, Paul and Nancy were able to be here in August. They were here for a family wedding and they were able to visit. And some of you got to spend some time with them. They spent time in the ABF group, but also had a lunch with a few people. And so they really enjoyed that. And Nancy wanted me to let you know how hospitable she experienced the church to be, and she really enjoyed being here and seeing people that she hadn't seen in a long time or knew from a while back. So just a little bit of highlights from then. Prayer requests from Paul and Nancy. One of the things they're asking is they need monthly partners. They said that their support has been the lowest since it's been for many years. And so I want to challenge you, if that's something you want to consider prayerfully to become a partner with them, let me know and I can connect you to Paul and Nancy. But again, monthly support is something that is needed. I see here prayers for their grandson Luca, who was diagnosed with the kidney syndrome. If you've been keeping up with their monthly updates, that's something that they've talked about. And then also says prayers for fertility issues for Alexis and Ben. And so that's the prayer request that I have for Paul and Nancy with Wycliffe. Continuing our partners, Bold Hope. Bold Hope is one of our international partners. And the highlight for the second quarter is, as you probably are aware, and we had a day at church this summer that we're still in the summer, but earlier in the summer, that highlighted all the trips of our youth, but also as a church. And one of those is that the team got to go to the Dominican Republic with Bold Hope, and it was an incredible time. There is a video about this that we share that day. I think it's on our online service on YouTube, so you can check that out. But basically, the DR trip was amazing. There was about 7 of us from the church who went, 7 people from here. And Marcy Fry was the one who led the team. If you have any questions, you can talk to her about that. And they did 2 big VBSs serving Haitian refugees. And one of the coolest things that I got to hear from that is that in both of the places, in both of the locations where they were, it says over 30 kids, about 5 to 12 years old, after hearing the VBS, and there was drama and there was acting, everything was in Spanish for them. And they just came forward to make a commitment to follow Jesus, which is incredible. And from the team I talked to, they said that was incredible to see. And the cool thing, as you know, Bold Hope has long-term staff in the DR. So these kids who are giving their life to Jesus will have follow-up. There's teams that are there. So we love to partner with organizations such as Bold Hope who have long-term sustainability in mind. It's not just a one-week trip and then we leave and then nothing's done. But no, Bold Hope has staff there who's creating relationships and friendships, and also just providing for the needs holistically, not just physically, but also spiritually, and letting them know about Jesus. So that was one of the coolest things. The team enjoyed it. I had a lot of conversations with them, and they told me it was awesome to see just kids who didn't have a lot, but yet we're still hungry for God and also thankful and joyful, which is something really cool that happened in the DR. A couple other things with Bold Hope that I could mention from their newsletter is that they had different teams that went to the DR, not just the one from E3. They were able to build, says, a pavilion structure that will be used by a missionary couple that has been serving them for 10 years. There were some repairs done at an orphanage. They helped repair a leaky roof and installed a playground as well. The other cool thing that happened this summer, the second quarter, is in the DR. Bold Hope was able to help 20 different families to obtain their documents. So documentation is pretty big for the Haitian refugees, because basically they're seen as the low of the lows, basically low socioeconomic status, and they cannot get out of these villages that they are put in until they have their Dominican papers. And so Bold Hope is able to get documentation for 20 families. What this means is the kids, they kind of have opportunity to get out of the places where they are, where they're extreme poverty, and be able to make something of themselves and be able to help their families out. So that's something really cool that Bold Hope has been doing with a lot of the families, Haitian refugee families there in the Dominican Republic. Some prayer requests. He says, continue to pray for Bold Hope's missionaries and partners around the world. Bold Hope has different missionaries in different countries, which is pretty cool. So let's continue to pray for them. They have their annual Bold Hope Gala, I think, as well. So that's something to be praying for. All right, let's move on to Jenny Lang. Jenny Lang is a national mission partner here. She works with Campus Crusade, but now she works for Family Life Ministries, which is within Campus Crusade, but she's transitioned to mainly work with Family Life Ministries. And here's the update for the second quarter for her. She spent a lot of her summer working on finishing, says, the Family Life Foundation's curriculum. She's been working on this curriculum for a very long time. And what's going to happen is they're going to be testing the curriculum with the staff. And so they're going to be testing this. And one of the things that I want to remind you of is that this new curriculum that Jenny has been working is going to help mobilize. It's designed to help mobilize families to live out the Great Commission in whatever corner of the world that they're in. So it's a way to mobilize them to, like, how can they fulfill the Great Commission wherever they are, whatever part of the world they are. Another thing that happened this quarter, Family Life was able to take 50 people to the Dominican Republic as well to give out water filters and also to share more of God's love. It says Family Life is looking to partner with local churches to provide a family mission opportunity around the world if interested. So what that is saying is, for our families at church, Family Life does family trips as a way to help people overseas or different parts of the country here as well. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. I can connect you with Jenny, interested in taking a family trip. Maybe that's next summer and whenever that is. That's something that Family Life does and is looking for people to partner with them in that sense. Some prayer requests here. It says, pray for a smooth transition back to school for John and Elijah. And also pray for their efforts to roll out the new Family Life Foundation's curriculum to the staff. So praying for that. Pray that it will help mobilize people to engage in reaching others. All right, let's move on to Dan and Emily McCall, another international partner. Dan and Emily McCall, they are in Kenya. That's where they serve. They work with Dollar Development, but they are actually in the States for about a year in a sabbatical. And one of the cool things too is you were around here this July. Dan and Emily were able to be in person here at E3 the last week of July. It was so cool. They were able to be here. We had a lunch for them as well. They were in the service, talked a little bit about Dollar Development and what's been going on in their ministry this past year. So I encourage you to check that out as well. If you missed that, again, our services are recorded. They're on the church app, but you can find them on YouTube as well, where you can go back and listen to that interview as well. Updates here from them is that all government stamps and approvals were required that were needed. They were needing some of this stuff to move forward in education. It says the next phase of construction would include 3 more classrooms and offices. So they're constructing more, adding up to the school that they have there in Kenya. It says other updates on the health side of Dollar Development. It says about 40 at-risk individuals are being screened each month for cancer. By mid-year, they were able to screen 400 patients and assisted with the treatment of 22 patients. So, which has been good. One of the things, as if you were here, the Dallas development does, it focuses on education and health. Health is a big concern in Kenya, especially with cancer, and so that's a big thing that they do. And also, obviously, education with some of the Kenyan students there as a way to meet the needs that exist there, and at the same time be able to share the love of Christ and who Christ is in their lives. A big prayer request for them is they're here in the U.S. They're here in the U.S. for a time to have rest. And also to have some great reflection time about where God is leading Dan and Emily. They've been in Kenya for quite some time now, and so they're trying to figure out, okay, God, what is next? How do we go back? How do we do all these things? So just be praying for a time of refreshment, a time of good rest, and a time for them to listen and to hear from God. Now, the other big thing is it's money. It's fundraising. We got an email soon after they were gone that there's they're operating on reserves, basically. Dallas development, they've lost a lot of funding or a lot of monthly donors, especially in the last couple of years. I think everyone understands that very well. So if, again, that's something that you want to be connected and you want to know about more about Dan and Emily and Dallas development, email me, and that's something you can get connected with and perhaps prayerfully consider giving to them monthly. The other thing about Dan and Emily is that the first Wednesday of every month, we have a Zoom call. We have a Zoom call where you can attend and you can hear updates of what's going on in their lives, in their ministry. That's something cool that we're doing with them, that they're offering to us as a church. So every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month, I would say, you can Zoom in when Dan and Emily there as well. So if you're interested, again, let me know. Okay, moving on to Pastor Adam. Pastor Adam is one of our partners in the Middle East, a mission partner. He's in a closed country, and so there is a lot of protection there from that. The update we have from him is that him and his wife, Libby, they spent the summer at the new training center that they have, training teachers, registering and testing new students, teaching classes, and doing program design. Pastor Adam has been hosting the lab. The lab is kind of like a coffee shop where students practice their English, get coffee, and get to know the team. This is the way that they get to know students in these closed countries where there's not a lot of Christians, and it's dangerous to be a Christian there, but it's a way to get to know them and a way to show them the love of God there. So one of the things they said is that they're thankful for having this new center open in a very difficult neighborhood. One of the cool things that they've seen this quarter is that students that have come to the lab, that's what it's called, the lab, they've seen it as a joyful place. They always say, oh, this is a joyful place. They feel at peace. That's what they've encountered when they've been here. So hopefully it's the start of the beginning of something good and awesome for the students. They're hoping that it will be the beginning to start many new churches in really an unreached place, and that's where they're doing their ministry. So the other thing that continues to happen right now is the training of new team members. That's what's been going on with Pastor Adam, his wife, and his team. They've been doing a lot of training, so lots of worshiping, prayer, food training, language training, as they have to learn Arabic for sure, all of those things. So that's an update from Pastor Adam. Prayer request says, pray for real friendships to develop between students and our team. And that's always the key in what they're doing. Real friendships to develop between students and our team. It says for our team to find opportunities to explain the gospel. Pray for that. For new churches to form from people who come to the center. For us to finally get our vocational license, there's still some kind of delay. That's something they're constantly dealing with overseas. And it says for us to build relationships with people in the community who support what we are doing. At the same time, Pastor Adam and his wife Livy, they also have a lot of new teams. And so one of the things they're praying is for good team dynamics, good quality friendships to develop with everyone that's there. And also one of the updates that Pastor Adam gives, if you keep up with him as well, if you've heard some of the updates before, they were in an accident. The team was in an accident in March. And there's still things that are dealing with that. Thankfully, everyone is okay, but there's some legal implications, and some of the team members and kids have to testify in court. So it's gotten a bit stressful for them. So keep them in your prayers with that all that legal stuff will be resolved and everything will go well. Yeah. All right. Well, next one is Carl Frost. Carl Frost is also another partner of ours, national partner. He is at Ball State University in Indiana. He's been working there for quite some time now. And Carl is someone who's connected deeply here at E-Free as well when he was here. The update from Carl is that the last couple of years, there's been lots of transition for the church there at Ball State, to the point where they've lost a lot of people, but there's still people there. And he says that the focus right now for Carl is focusing on the church on campus. He's wearing different hats, but that's where they are. And one of the cool things that I got to talk to Carl recently, and one of the things he told me is, despite of how difficult it's been this last couple of years, and even this past year, within this year, he said it was really hard, to the point where he's just wondering, God, is this what I'm supposed to do? And Carl was able to share with me how he heard from God this year like he hasn't heard in the past before, that this is where he needs to be, that he is called the pastoral ministry, which is so cool. And so after 20 years of ministry for Carl now, God is just reminding him, this is where I want you to be. And so it's encouraging to hear. It's encouraging. I want to share that with you, that he's heard from God that that's where he needs to be. So he's going to continue to be there at Ball State University. Some of the things that the church is transitioning that he mentioned is they're transitioning with new people and looking at everything again. He says, we're looking at everything to see how to go forward, looking at high levels of structure, elders, leadership, and that's something that they're doing and have been working on. So prayer requests, it says, pray for us to wisely look at how church has been doing things and hear from God about how to go forward. It says wisdom in doing ministry, how to balance running church and being with people, which is always a struggle. It's always a balance. So again, prayer requests from Carl Frost and his family there at Ball State University. All right, Home Sweet Home Missions. Now moving into our local partners. Home Sweet Home Missions, if you knew that, it's one of our local partners here in Bloomington Normal. And here is second quarter update. It says on June 2nd, Home Sweet Home Missions opened their new community center titled The Junction. The Junction offers several open areas with tables, chairs, computer nooks, a classroom, coffee and snack bar, and children's playroom. So they're really, really excited about that. And it's been really a blessing. The Bread for Life Co-op program that they have has continued to thrive. The shelves have stayed stocked up, and many families they serve continue to have access to fresh food. So this is the Bread for Life Co-op gives food and has produce and food for low-income families or people who are needing access to food. It says Home Sweet Home Missions, along with Midwest Food Bank as well, are preparing for Big Give. And this is something that's coming up here the last Sunday of this month, the last Sunday in September. I think it's the 25th. So mark your calendars. We'll be advertising this in our services, but we're going to talk about this. Big Give is coming up. And Big Give is a big thing from Home Sweet Home Missions, as well as Midwest Food Bank, where they just collect dinners, Thanksgiving meals and dinners, and they give out so much to families who are not going to have a lot for Thanksgiving. So again, that's something that we do, and we're going to talk about this, how you can bring some of your donations, your food donations to the church for that Sunday or leading up to that Sunday as well. So again, Big Give is coming up. Current needs that Home Sweet Home Missions has, prayer requests, it says, pray for individuals, families, and veterans seeking a fresh start. Pray for the volunteers and staff involved at the Junction. Continue to pray for the Bread for Life Food Co-op and its members for it to continue to flourish. And then it says, continue to pray for our food source providers, including local restaurants, grocery stores, and community gardens, the health and safety of volunteers, clients, and staff who devote their time in our shelter. So just covering them with prayer. They also have, you can go on their website. I can put the link here as well for you to see what their current needs are, such as bottled waters, it says apples, cuties, individual bags of chips, sugar, pasta sauce, canned tomatoes, body wash, shampoo, conditioner. There's needs that always that pop up that they need in order to be able to serve many families here in our town. Okay, the last update that I'm giving in this quarter report, is from Sharon Elementary. Sharon is also one of our local partners here at church. And if you've been listening a little bit to our e-news and what we've been doing is, there's a new thing that we're doing for Sharon this year. We're doing an Adopt a Teacher initiative. So if you know much about Sheridan, you know that they serve mostly low-income families. There's a lot of diversity in Sheridan, and many of those kids come from broken homes, and there's a lot of help that needs to be done, and there's no PTA or PTO, so there's not a lot of parent involvement right now, and there's a lot of help that is needed. And so the Adopt a Teacher initiative is we're going to partner you up with a teacher from Sheridan in order for you to provide assistance throughout the school year. Assistance can include buying supplies for a party, or buying supplies, stock up supplies at the middle of the year, and are coming in 1 hour a week. That's it, 1 hour a week to read with the students, to tutor, and so forth. And so you will be paired with that, and you don't have to do it every week. You can do it twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever you feel comfortable with. The point is to be able to help them. So we're excited about that. Email me again, omar@e4bn.org, and I can tell you more details about it if you're interested. Again, Adopt a Teacher initiative at Sheridan. It's something that we're starting to do this year, and we're really excited to be able to be there and help the kids out, and hopefully also be able to involve the parents eventually as well to be able to help. The last thing too with them is Trunk or Treat is coming up. So Trunk or Treat is coming up October 20th. That is a little bit over a month from today. And that's a big thing that we do at church. We love to do that. If you're interested in that, be looking out for the announcements. We're always needing volunteers. We're always needing donations. And we're also needing trunks to be decorated. So I hope that that's something you're looking forward to as much as I am. Well, that's it for this quarterly report. Just a little bit of what's been going on with our mission partners internationally, nationally, and locally here at EFC. I hope you find this helpful. If you have any questions, again, comments, concerns, you can always email me and talk to me about them. So I hope that this was helpful, and I will see you guys in our next quarterly report.